Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I want to propose an idea, a theory, a dream circumstance, if you will, for Left 4 Dead 3. Recently, as of a few days ago, Back 4 Blood, the spiritual successor for Left 4 Dead, was revealed to us, and it looks amazing. And as a true Left 4 Dead fan, I am very thoroughly excited for what Back 4 Blood has in store. Now, I want to propose the idea of something that I've got brewing in my mind to you guys about what we can do as a community, and even on Valve and Turtle Rock's end, that will allow us as a group of zombie lovers to end up getting the true Left 4 Dead 3 that we want. So, let me talk about this. So, the very first thing I want to point out is that all this is just theory, or like I said, like a dream circumstance, if you will, at the beginning. This is not ironclad facts, and this is just for funsies. I just wanted to propose the idea because I thought it'd be interesting, so don't necessarily take it too seriously, and just kind of let your mind be open to interpretation like you were when you were a kid. And also, the second thing also is in general, if you guys do like these types of videos and you want to see more Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood content, definitely consider dropping a follow, subscribe, comment, like, all that beautiful stuff, because I upload every single day. In fact, I upload double videos every single day, and I know you guys will love to see the Left 4 Dead ones. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Now let's begin with the actual topic. So, what am I thinking here? What am I thinking that would be a great idea that you guys are seriously just like waiting for me to end up just saying what it is already? Well, this is my theory. So, Back 4 Blood, as we know, is going to be made by Turtle Rock Studios, which Turtle Rock Studios, as of right now, does not have any connection with Valve at the moment. Now, Valve obviously made the Left 4 Dead series, or so you may think. So, let's talk about that in a brief story, just really quickly, just so we have the context, okay? Fair enough? Alright, so let's talk about the story real quick. So, basically, way back in the early 2000s, which is funny to think how that that actually is a long time ago for some of you now. I mean, literally 2010 was already 10 years ago. That's just weird to think. But anyways, enough with that. Let's not get sidetracked. So, back in the early 2000s, Turtle Rock Studios, the company that is making Back 4 Blood, used to actually work with Valve on the Left 4 Dead series. So basically, Turtle Rock was a small little company that was working on the console side of things for Valve's games. For example, they made the Xbox version of Counter-Strike as an example. Now, when Valve was making games, they were wanting to have basically a second in command, kind of like a Robin to your Batman, if you will. And with Turtle Rock, that was the case. Turtle Rock was supposed to be that exact analogy, and they were kind of like the co-partner, I guess you could say, to their bread and butter. And basically, long story short, even though Turtle Rock did end up having some good connection with Valve in the beginning, eventually it got to the point where when Turtle Rock, because Turtle Rock originally proposed the idea of Left 4 Dead, not Valve, Turtle Rock actually came up with the idea of Left 4 Dead when they were messing around in basically Counter-Strike. In Counter-Strike, they were ending up running around with just knives and zombie models in the game, and they were thinking about some ideas, and they pieced some of their favorite pieces of zombie culture together, and they basically made Left 4 Dead. Turtle Rock just, in their free time, just made the game. Kind of similar to World at War getting COD zombies in the background, if you will, if you remember that story. So, basically, Turtle Rock made Left 4 Dead, and Valve was okay with this. They worked on it together. Now, unfortunately, due to foreseen circumstances, or unforeseen circumstances, if you will, they had a little bit of a falling out. The most recent example of a modern story I can give that's very similar to this is with The Walking Dead and Skybound and Telltale Games. So, for example, Telltale Games had a little bit of a hiccup where they unfortunately were going out of business and they could not produce games anymore. And one of their games that was going to be due for a possible cancellation in the middle of it being completed was the final season of the Walking Dead series with Clementine and Lee and all that stuff. So the connection here that I'm essentially trying to draw here is that essentially, long story short, for slightly different reasons, Valve ended up having a fallout with Turtle Rock and actually ended up getting the rights to Left 4 Dead, similar how that Skybound ended up picking up the Walking Dead series with Clementine and Lee from Telltale Games. So essentially, even though Turtle Rock made Left 4 Dead, the Valve owns the rights. But the good news is, though, is that that doesn't prevent us from being able to experience Left 4 Dead yet again. Because now we're in a certain situation where we're getting Left 4 Dead 3, but not fully. We do not have the IP or the name Left 4 Dead 3 on the box, but we all know that in our eyes, this is basically the spiritual successor or a Left 4 Dead 3 that we've been waiting for. So even though Left 4 Dead 2 is the last official Left 4 Dead game back in 2009, Back 4 Blood, coming out in 2021, is going to be essentially Left 4 Dead 3. So what would make Left 4 Dead 3, or in this case Back 4 Blood, essentially being called Left 4 Dead 3, what would make it more Left 4 Dead 3 than it already is? Well, I wanted to mention something that I think is not that bad of an idea, and that is a crossover. Crossovers in games are much more accepted and not too far-fetched compared to what they used to be. The games that I most notably think of when crossovers come to mind is, of course, Fortnite. Fortnite, or Epic Games in this case, is really, really good at getting the IPs or the rights to temporarily or on a regular basis, even sometimes permanently use assets from other industries, such as, for example, skins or events that come from other series, such as Marvel, DC, John Wick, etc. You can have so many different names and so many different icons in Fortnite now, it's ridiculous. You have celebrities with, like, for example, Travis Scott, or you have anywhere from other games such as Borderlands. And there's already another set of crossovers, actually, like 3 almost all at once, all coming in this season of Fortnite. They've actually got a Halo one that just came out, and they're going to have a Walking Dead, Michonne, and Daryl skin coming out in the near future. So Fortnite and Epic Games are really, really good at working with other companies and allowing basically essentially a crossover for pretty much any genre you can think of. I wouldn't honestly be surprised if Fortnite or Epic Games end up having some really, really weird crossovers in the future more than they already do. Now, let's talk about how this relates to Valve or Back 4 Blood or Turtle Rock or whatever name you would like to use. So, crossovers are not too far out of the picture. In fact, a lot more other games are starting to do it. Now, what makes you think that Valve would be willing to do this, or Turtle Rock, or whoever might be the one that'd be more hesitant, rather? Well, this is what I propose. The reason why is because Valve already has done a crossover, and this is recent, by the way. Take a look at this. This is a photo of a update that came out for Dying Light, which is a zombie game that came out a few years ago, and it has a Left 4 Dead crossover. This was very recently. Left 4 Dead and Dying Light had a crossover together just a few months ago, and essentially what it was is that you had Left 4 Dead elements in Dying Light. Dying Light is a really, really fun zombie game. I played all the way through and even played some of the DLC, and of course I played Left 4 Dead, so for me, this was a really, really awesome update, and I really enjoy that. And to me, this means that Valve, or in this case, the current owners of Left 4 Dead, which is important, ended up being okay with their IP, specifically Left 4 Dead, being available on other games. Now, let's talk about Turtle Rock's end of this. So, Turtle Rock, as of right now, I would like to believe is on good standing with Valve, because there is 3 things that you must keep in mind that would make it believable that this would be the case. First of all, let's take a look at the platforms that this game is going to be on. Back 4 Blood in this case. Back 4 Blood is going to be available on the Xbox One, the Xbox Series X and S, the PS4, the PS5, Epic Games Launcher, and lastly, Steam, which Steam is run by Valve. Valve owns the rights to Steam, is their launcher. It's like how, Epic, the makers of Fortnite have the Epic Games Launcher. They have their launcher, and they also have their games, and other games go on there as well. Now, I would genuinely like to believe that Valve would not put this game on their launcher, especially if they already got Epic for PC's portion. If they were on bad standing. That wouldn't make any sense to me, and I don't see why this would be the case. Now, also another thing that we gotta look at is that the fact that Valve's even willing to do this. Let's take a look at other things in their recent history with Valve, because I feel like Valve would be the more hesitant one on this side of things. With Valve, Valve is a very, very old company. They haven't really experienced games in a while. Not to say that they're out of touch, but I'm just saying is that they're not really into games. They don't really have that full-on drive or passion like they used to, but they can get it back. Now, even though Valve isn't actively making games like the way that they used to, they are willing to work on projects such as the Left 4 Dead update, containing help from modders. So we as the community, whether it be modders or just the community as in YouTubers, live streamers, or even just people that play the game, can influence Valve again, being like, hey Valve, we enjoy your titles, these are a lot of fun, remember what this used to be like, remember how much fun this used to be, and they can end up getting their hands dirty, and they can be like, oh yeah, this is fun again, because the way I look at Valve with their games is almost kind of like an old band, that like an old band that's kind of not playing music anymore, has lost their magic touch, but wants to get it back. So essentially, Valve is the old band in this case, and we are their fans dying for their content to come back. So what we need to do is for them, instead of getting them necessarily their music talent back, it's their game talent back. We need to show them with our skills, such as the modders being on the development side of things and YouTubers and gameplay guys being on the fun and supportive role of things. We need to inspire Valve to end up getting their drive back, because I know as soon as they end up having their drive back, Valve will flock to these games and have a lot of fun again, just like anybody would used to be. Because really all it is, with the reason why they're not making a lot of games, it's not even just money, it's also a double thing. It's also drive. Because if they had drive, the drive would back up more than anything the reason why they're playing games or even making games. Because drive is what fuels you to even do things. And what makes you get out of bed in the morning is what makes you do your hobbies, it's what makes you end up going to work. Drive is everything. So once they end up getting a drive or a interest back, they're set. They're golden. They're gonna fly. They're gonna go. And we as the community can do that. We need to inspire just like they inspired us way back then. And once they end up getting inspired, it's not going to be an issue for them. Valve will be more than incentivized to end up playing a key role again, because they're already sort of getting their hands dirty by dabbling with us, and we're already getting their attention and we're already getting their interest. They're like, okay, well, we don't really want to do it, but we'll work with you, we'll help you. They're basically playing a coach role instead of a football player role. They're like, back in my day I did this, now it's your turn. But now what we need is, then instead of them being a coach, we need them to get back on the front lines and start playing some goddamn football. So what we're going to be doing, and I recommend this massively, is we all just keep, in a respectful way, re-incentivizing Valve on why this is working. Being like, hey, that Left 4 Dead update that you guys did was awesome, let's do another, etc., 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 and then it'll just keep going from there, and that's really what we're looking for here at the end of the day. Now, the last thing is that what would make me think that this would be a likely opportunity to happen? This is obvious, but a lot of people might not like it. It's money. So let's talk about this. So even though a lot of people might not like this aspect of the story, it's gotta be acknowledged because of the truth. But we can all talk about this as civil adults, I would like to believe. Even though, yes, it's very easy to get triggered by a certain keyword or certain key phrase of something that might have screwed you over in the past. Let's all try to be reasonable here and just have a normal conversation, because nothing is bad, we're just having fun, and we're just talking like civil adults. So let's talk about this. So with Valve has kind of been a little bit out of the loop with the games, as I've said before, and I don't necessarily know how they would take towards a microtransaction system that has changed vastly from what they have currently been using, such as CSGO, being one of their most popular games, is still stuck on the supply drop or loot box system. And that, theoretically, yes, makes lots of money, but it's RNG and it's now illegal. It's actually a very, very bad system to have in your games because it's on the par. In fact, it is, in a lot of areas of the world now, a felony because it's basically underage gambling. So supply drops are a no-go in a lot of places now. Now, I understand that, yes, some people don't have a problem with supply drops. I don't know why you don't, but I hope you do one day have a problem with supply drops because they're a broken system, but I'm not going to get into that. But basically, the last game that Valve really had a microtransaction system on a big scale was CS, and unfortunately, it's not a good one. It's supply drops. They're random, they're not guaranteed. But that doesn't mean things can't change. Since Valve has been out of the loop with a lot of games, they've kind of had a clean slate. They don't have any bad rubbing off effect like they do with, for example, other developers such as EA and Activision. Activision and EA's controversy follows them because they're a modern, company. They keep making new stuff. Valve has been kind of out of the touch and out of the picture for a while, so it's given people time to forgive and forget. With Valve, I would like to believe that if they made a game, they would be open to having a microtransaction system that wasn't supply drops, although they might charge you an arm and a leg for it. But that's just the modern way of looking at things. Unfortunately, I guess the area of getting absolutely every single thing ever for free now is gone for a lot of games, unless you literally want to play an indie game. But essentially, the AAA studios, those days of getting games that give you 100% of everything for free after you pay your premium, $60 or $70 to get the game, those areas are done. But that doesn't mean we can't have a good one. So what I'm getting at, long story short, because I could go on this for a while, Valve has been out of the touch for games for a while. In turn, their slate is wiped clean. This goes for the case with their microtransactions too. Now, Valve, like any other company, would like to make money, of course. So, what they can do is they can end up learning from a lot of other developers about the new microtransaction idea, or I guess you could say the standard, and start implementing that into their games, and also even into Back 4 Blood. This is where I'm getting into the crossover thing. What we could do is that Back 4 Blood can have Left 4 Dead crossover stuff. So this can be in the case of microtransactions, this can be in the case of events, this can be in the case of gameplay changes, and they all would incentivize Valve because they would end up getting them money. Same thing with Turtle Rock. Turtle Rock, if they end up having one of the most popular zombie games in the world have a crossover with their zombie games, the publicity and the brand recognition of Left 4 Dead will attract people to Turtle Rock, which is a much smaller company than Valve, making Turtle Rock more likable. It will make people go to Turtle Rock's newest, biggest game and get a lot of people on their game, jumping the start to Turtle Rock's success. On Valve's end of things, Valve would end up having an opportunity to make one of their old games a much bigger cash cow than it has been in a while, because Left 4 Dead as an IP is a famous IP. It is one of the biggest zombie brands out there, and if Left 4 Dead is getting a game that has elements of Left 4 Dead, no pun intended, it's literally going to end up resurgencing Valve and also their money, because Valve, essentially their biggest thing of money lately has come from CSGO and probably just Steam purchases in general. Left 4 Dead has not exactly gotten a lot of money in a while, because if you look for it, it's dirt cheap on both 360 and also on the PC. I mean, they might get a little bit of money still because 360 still charges for DLC, which I hope they fix that one day. But Valve wouldn't get a lot of money for Left 4 Dead nowadays. But if a sequel game, or in this case, the idea of something sequel-like being modernized and coming out, that would resurge all the old fans and make especially me want to buy those microtransactions or play those updates. Imagine how cool it would be if the new girl Holly in Back 4 Blood had a Zoe skin, or if the one new black character ended up getting a Coach skin, or even the Special Infected. Imagine if there's a versus mode and you can play as the Special Infected. Imagine if the new Holger or Hulker thing that looks a lot like the Hunter gets a Hunter skin, or the one big guy ends up getting a Tank or a Boomer skin, or the one other one-armed zombie that looks like a Charger gets a Charger skin. You can give him overalls or something like that and just call it a day. Now, that would be the most funnest thing ever, because it would draw a connection. It would be connection. And you could even have such as little things, just little things, such as an event, where even though the event might be temporary or such on a small scale that's not a full-fledged AAA title, but just connecting the universes in general, that would be so amazing and be a very big thank you on the behalf of the fans. Because if you end up having an event, or let's say there's an in-game event, Fortnite style, where all of a sudden you load onto a map, and at the exact same time, everybody ends up seeing a giant tank, the original Left 4 Dead tank, chasing around and ripping crap up out of the ground and attacking you. Or you end up having a swarm of jockeys and a swarm of hunters all attacking you, and now you have to survive for 10 minutes like survival mode back in the day. Or imagine that you're playing and you're walking around in a dark forest and all you just hear is a witch crying in the background, just eerily watching you as her eyes look at you and turn red and she chases the crap out of you. Or lastly, this is my favorite idea. Imagine that we all load up into a sandbox. We all end up doing this literally Fortnite style, and we all go into a private match. And essentially what happens, we're on a sandbox, we've never seen this location before, it doesn't look anything that we're used to, and then all of a sudden we see every single zombie that we know from Left 4 Dead Dead, all the special infected and everything, and there's a helicopter evac, and we have to use Left 4 Dead guns and Left 4 Dead equipment to try to escape and get to the helicopter evac site. That would be the funnest thing ever, and with embodiment of my favorite game in history in terms of just crossover events and just funness in general. I would love that. And even though, yes, let's say that this is a temporary thing and this never ends up being another thing we ever see again, just that alone would be the most fun thing ever, knowing that the universes are connected. We could even do a similar thing, such as with the passing on Left 4 Dead 2, where the Left 4 Dead 1 crew was interacting with us, and they weren't even playable, but Zoe, Lewis, and Bill interacting with Ellis, Coach, Nick, and Rochelle. You could do something like that. You could have the Left 4 Dead 2 crew this time, or even the Left 4 Dead 1 crew again, I don't care, but you could end up having the crew interact with us as NPCs and participating in the universe with us. They don't have to be necessarily playable. We don't necessarily need to have full-on remakes of Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 maps. We don't necessarily need to see exactly every single thing come back. But it would be fun if we had some stuff come back. It would definitely be fun if the universes got connected somehow. And I would like to believe that Turtle Rock and Valve are on good enough standing for this to happen. Valve and Turtle Rock, the most similar thing, like I said, I can relate to this to, is Skybound and Telltale. And even though things didn't work out necessarily before in the past, that doesn't mean you can, not end up making amends. There's no burnt bridges, I'd like to believe. I'm not necessarily a worker for either company. But the best way that we can look at this is that we can just ask the modders of the Left 4 Dead community, because the modders are working with Valve. They now have connections. They work with them and are essentially almost kind of like free contractors. And I don't believe that they would necessarily get in trouble for disclosing this, or even asking this, rather. But if you have a popular modder, in fact, I might even do this very, very soon, I would just ask them, just being like, hey, you got connections to Valve. Can you just ask them about this for me? And who knows, maybe me making this video, little old me, might end up having it where I can get in contact with Valve or get a modder to do it for me, and we can end up having one of the best crossovers in gaming history. Modders, I know some of you watch my videos. If you're still watching my channel and you actually still keep up with my content, you watch this video, please do me a favor. Hit me up in the DMs on Discord, Twitter, or something, and either hit up Valve for me or allow me to get in contact with Valve and just have a simple professional business conversation. Doesn't necessarily need to be ending in any form of expectation. I just want to talk. But yeah, guys, this is basically it for today's video, and why I believe that Left 4 Dead 3 might be much more of a possibility than one may think. I hope you ended up enjoying today's video, and if you did, just one last time, as always, I appreciate if you guys could drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that beautiful stuff, because that's tremendously appreciated, and I will be able to let you tell me, and also YouTube, that you want to see more videos like this, because that way you can go, hey YouTube, we'd like this guy, he brings us Left 4 Dead content when a lot of people don't, so please support his channel. And that in turn will allow me to be able to end up eventually one day making this my job, where my profession is now my hobby, now my job, and I would be able to make content for you every single day that you are looking for. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you guys enjoyed another YouTube video from the most unique YouTuber you're ever going to see. Peace out, guys.